conversation, so other people can kind of catch up on them, if they'd like to. So shall we just say a little bit about kind of where it's come from, really? So it's about creating a soul-centered business, which I'm really speaking from experience, if you like. So for me, I created my accountancy practice, and I'm now creating my coaching business, very much from an inside out angle, without having realized that at the time. So very much about not planning, very much about getting out of my own way, very much about allowing this intelligence and energy to work through me, even though I didn't realize that at the time. So when I set my accountancy business up, I got no idea what I was doing. It was kind of quite cool that I was going to be able to pay the mortgage. But other than that, there was just no plan behind it. But somehow the universe wanted to work through me, was pointing me in the direction. And what I've come to see is that this will do that for all of us all the time. It may not be what we want to hear. We may think that we know better. We may think that we're working to a different time span, usually quicker. But it's never down to us. Our job, it looks to me, is to be available, to allow, to be open, to hear where the universe wants us to go. And the signs are there when we hear that, when we're quiet enough to hear that. And as I say, looking back, I very much see that my journey with Sleigh and Story, and now my coaching journey, is very much about getting out of my own way, and seeing, being guided, if you like, seeing this guidance, seeing this intuition, the feeling, if you like, the feeling which guides us, and seeing opportunities which we don't see when we're full of our own ideas, when we have this big should as to how things should be going, and when we get out of our own way, then this works through us. And so for me, I wanted to share what I've seen in my own business journey, and what I'm sharing with my clients, and what my clients are seeing as well. I just thought it'd be really cool for us to kind of explore this in a group. So that was the motivation for me. And I've known Tracy. I was coaching Tracy, and we've become friends. And I love Tracy's energy, and she's a great coach as well. So I thought it'd be really cool for us to work together on this. So that's kind of my open gambit, Tracy. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
Yeah, and I guess, I kind of feel like in many ways I'm coming in contrast to that, in that, you kind of did have a lovely experience where you started your business, and it just, you allowed it to unfold, whereas I can see that I got in my way an awful lot, in terms of my business, especially in kind of the earlier years of kind of growing my coaching business, that I made so many rules. Well, they looked very real to me, all of these rules. It looked very real to me that growing a business was hard work. It looked very real to me that, I had to do all of these things. And it caused a huge amount of resistance, I think, in me, because what I'm starting to see, and now that I look back, especially over the last couple of years, I can see that in actual fact there was kind of a different direction for me to go in, but I was so busy trying to mold things into this way that I wasn't seeing the other opportunities that were around me. It was like I had blinkers on and I was missing out on so much stuff. And I've had a wonderful experience over the last sort of year even of letting go of all of those rules and playing from a space of greater freedom and enjoying growing my business, having fun with it, and seeing these opportunities just seem to materialize out of nowhere, and but not having anything on it either, you know, because some of them will work out, some of them won't. But if they tickle my soul, and I think that's been a big thing for me, is doing things that tickle my soul. And that's kind of where the soul centered came from, was that, and you mentioned this too, Peter, that the feeling around it was completely different.
No, I love that, Tracy, absolutely. And it's a deeper knowing beneath the insecure thinking that we have. And I just want to welcome Victoria, who I just seen popped along. And Victoria's seen this, you know, if I can, I'll just share, Victoria, that you run a pretty sizable business. And that you've kind of seen this, seen that the intuition, the knowing is there beneath insecure thinking. And when we can see insecure thinking for what it is, which is insecure thinking, which we don't need to listen to, it's there, but we don't need to listen to. But beneath that space, we know what to do. We know what to do when we need to know what to do. As I said, not necessarily on our time span, but when we know what to do, the guidance is there.
It's such a nicer experience, because I know what it's like to white knuckle it, you know, where you're growing your business from fear and insecurity, and like you're literally, oh my God, you know. And I've spoke to other people who are growing their business, and they're white knuckling it as well. And it's like, to me, that just, I see now that that's optional.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it. You know, you can grow a business through blasting through it. Almost like, I've heard it described as a sort of warrior way of growing a business. Almost like the Donald Trump way of growing a business. So, you know, Donald Trump is a successful businessman if you want to, in a sort of material kind of worldly kind of way, if you like. But do you want his life? You know, so we can blast our way as if it's all up to us, and that can be materially successful, but at the expense of our own well-being, at the expense of our peace of mind. But we can actually have both, and that's what I've seen, that we can have both peace of mind as well as a kind of materially successful business by being guided and by seeing opportunities. I can't remember but I heard the word you said, seeing, Tracy, and that was big for me. I had the pleasure of being coached by George Pransky at one time, and the one big thing he helped me to see was that we kind of don't need to create opportunities. We just need to see them. And when our mind's quiet, we can see opportunities. In coaching, we can see people who need coaching, who we can help. In other businesses, we see businesses that we can help. We see customers that we can help. from a service point of view, from a what can we do for them, what can we do for them, rather than kind of what's in it for me, if you like, and then there's a sort of love in our business. So I coach a couple of people at the moment. One runs a kind of coffee shop restaurant. Another one makes jewellery, handmade jewellery, completely different businesses. But what they've absolutely got in common is you can taste the love. You can taste the love that this lady puts into her jewellery. You can taste the love that this guy puts into the food that he cooks. And that's it. That's where formless shows up in form, if you like. That's where the love for your business, the love for what you're doing, shows up in what you create. And that's what we're talking about.
And I love that you use the word love, Peter, as well, because before you said it, I was actually thinking, yeah, there'd be a lot of talk about love in this program. And, business and love, they're not sentences, or they're not words that you hear put together in the outside in approach. They're not words that you were conditioned to think married together. But like you, I've had conversations with clients as well recently, and you honestly, you can see where they're coming from. It's a soul-centered place, and it's a completely different place to grow a business from, as opposed to a needy place. And I think it's like, it's about bringing that love into how you grow your business as well. That, because certainly a lot of the things that I would have seen, in particular, I suppose, on the marketing side of things when it comes to business, is so much of it was like, oh man, that is such a load of bullshit. That is so contrived. And I felt a lot of people pushing me to do the contrived shit. And I was just like, I'm not doing that, because it's fake. It's made up. And you can tell that, whereas you can tell when somebody is in love with what they are doing.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it's about finding the balance of loving what you're doing, but that it's okay to actually have a successful and thriving business as well, that you don't separate the love of what you're doing from the making money,
Yeah.
being successful. They're intermingled. There's love
Absolutely.
in all of those areas.
Absolutely. And it's a gimme. If you're doing a business that you love doing, that kind of, I don't know, that reflects you, and that's a big question about who we are, if you like, and we can look at that on lots of different levels. But if you're doing a business that you're true to yourself with, that you can show up authentically in, then it's kind of a gimme that you're going to be successful at it, because you will connect with your tribe. You will connect with people who are in line with you. The opposite being, if you're trying to be something that you're not, if you're not showing up authentically, then it's confusing. You connect with people who you're not a fit with, and that always ends badly. And the people you are a fit with struggle to find you because you're not showing up authentically. And once we do that, it's an absolute gimme that it's going to go well, and that you're going to make money. Business is really easy, and we make it complicated. Business is about creating quality and people knowing about it. That's it. Now, quality you can look at in lots of different ways, but that's essentially what you're doing. You're creating quality for your tribe and making sure that your tribe know about you, through, and the starting point of that really is knowing more about yourself, knowing who you are, and being able to show up as you are. Now, why would people not show up as who they are? Well, because we tend to think that we're not enough. We tend to think that it's not enough just to show up as we are, but it always is. And if we don't, then it just gets messy. It just gets confusing. So that's part of the program. I think we've called it different things, haven't we? I think we've talked about mindset or something. That's probably about seeing more about who we are, and allowing ourselves to show up as we are.
And it's funny because I've from doing my podcast, and especially having conversations with people, yourself included, Peter, kind of asking the question, what was it like that helped you to have, a really successful and thriving business? And more I hear it, people are like, I really don't know. To be honest, I didn't think about it too much.
That's right.
And that's it. It's the absence of the thinking.
Yeah.
And whereas we are kind of taught the opposite of that, we're taught, oh, you need to visualize it, and you need to plan it, and you need to, the steps. And absolutely, there's a time for that as well. But it's the more thinking we have around anything, the more it seems to cause a huge amount of resistance. And I think I experienced that. So that's why, I said at the outset, we contrast each other in that you've experienced growing a business from flow, whereas I've experienced growing a business where it's just like going down a hill where it's like bump, oh, there's another boulder, bump, 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 bump. Because what can I say? I need to get a lot of knocks on the head before I finally get the insights,
But that's part of your journey, Tracy.
It is.
That's part of our journey.
Yeah, it is. It's part of the learning curve, and I also see the benefit of that learning experience, that you can't go from zero to thrivingly successful business overnight. It just kind of, I think you'd end up probably going back to zero again, because you'd have so much thinking along the way. Whereas I think we have to kind of learn and grow, and also we bring that into the work that we do as well. It's a richer experience.
Absolutely. And when we can see life as a learning curve rather than needing to get things right first time, wow, what a different life that is, where we're allowing ourselves to make mistakes, where we're not judging ourselves for making mistakes. And I'm saying mistakes in inverted commas, rather than seeing that all as part of the learning curve. And that's, if you like, I mean, we're quite a number of people here have, myself included, train, and you, Tracy, train with Michael Neal. And he talks about mastery, and how the road to mastery is about always wanting to learn. And that looks really true to me. My journey to becoming a better coach is I've coached and coached and coached and coached and coached. My journey to at Sleigh & Story, my other business, my accountancy business, where I was really guided that I wasn't an accountant. So what did I do? I employed lots of accountants. And what am I good at? Well, I'm good at connecting with people. I'm good at creating relationships. I'm good at building relationships. And that's what I did. So my job was about business development. Now, had I decided, no, I'm an accountant, I'm going to stick to being an accountant, even though everything told me that I wasn't, the feeling told me that I wasn't, then it would have ended badly. But something told me to listen to my intuition, and my intuition told me to do what I did, which was about developing the business. And I developed the business over over 15 years and sold it last December, which has allowed me to be financially independent, which has certainly allowed me to feel that life was much more of a game where I can play with things and experience things. But you don't really need financial independence to do that. That's open to all of us to play with things, to be open, to be guided, to hear our intuition beyond our chattery mind.
And I think that's really important, you know, to maybe finish up on that point, because it's probably the central message in the program that we are putting together, is that we're not telling people what to do. You know, yeah, we will share, you know, experience and point to different things, but we are ultimately there to point to people that they already know. They have within them their own guidance system and their own wisdom. And, you know, there's so many different ways to grow a business. It doesn't have to follow any kind of linear path in the form that we have been taught, that it can be any way, and it can be whatever way that fits best for you, and nobody will know you better than you. Yeah. So, you know, it is a program about guiding and really helping people to trust in their own wisdom, because I know that was a big part of my path. Was part of me kind of knew, but I actually thought that it was because I was stubborn and that I didn't like being told what to do. And it took me a while to sort of see that actually wisdom was just contradicting what a lot of the external noise was telling me. But I thought it was because I just, like, I'm not doing that, I'm doing my own way. And I'm a bit stubborn. But maybe that's how wisdom shows up for me, you know?
Yeah, wisdom shows up all the time in lots of different guises. There's always wisdom there. Yeah. Tracy, I'd love to hear if there's any questions out there.
Yeah, and so if anybody has any questions and they want to pop them in the chat box, you can fire away. But also you can reach out to either Peter or myself. You can send us a message. So, and I've just detailed the program is starting on the, I can't look at it now because it's on my phone. Oh man, we are just nailing this live. Anyway, starting in 2 weeks. It's a 5-week program, and I'm going to share the link to the details about the program. I'll put it into the comments after this, so you can kind of read up a little bit more on just the kind of the various structure of it and the topics that we are going to be exploring. And obviously it's online on Zoom, but with, you know, Peter being in the UK and me being in Ireland, we won't be meeting up every week. That's the beauty of online, and it'll be via Zoom, not Facebook.
Yes.
So that's just the kind of the technical stuff, but you can reach out to either of us with any questions, and we're also keeping it small. It's going to be small, it's going to be intimate, which will allow for greater, I think, exploration and sharing, and really that's what we want to do, is create a space where we all get to just kind of get curious and have fun and see what can come from that space.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. So we're restricting it to 12 people, and I think there's about 5 or 6 people who have either booked or said that they want to book. So it's leaving about another half a dozen places. So so it'd be cool if you'd like to join us. Tracy won the battle of the currencies. So we're offering it in euros.
Listen, Brexit, you want it out, you're out. On your heads be it.
So there's a link there.
It's like rock, paper, scissors, you know, Europe.
So we'll stick a link up there for you to book. But is there anything that anyone wants to know? Any questions anyone would like to type in?
No questions popping up. So
cool.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it on that. We'll quit while the going is good before we look even more unprofessional. What are these two jokers talking about? It'll be fun because can't be taking everything so seriously. We'll be bringing that into the mix as well.
Yeah, no, it will, and I think it'd be cool if we create a group as well, so that we can sort of create a community to support each other around this. I think that'd be cool if we set up a Facebook group, so we can kind of share. We can share insights and invite other people to as well. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
That's it. You're welcome.
Thank
Marcella,
you all for your patience.
Yes.
Thanks for sticking with us. We really appreciate it and look forward to seeing some of you on the program.
Yeah. Take care and speak to you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.